Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0 and ArrowFM. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
We're going to start off with Raw, as we do every week. But just before we get there, we're getting our Rumble participants announced thick and fast this week. We had some that were happening before the last show went on. There was some in between. Twitter, live events. They're pretty much filled out now. We now know 20 of the 30 entrants for the men's Royal Rumble match from Raw and SmackDown this week, and as I said, those live events beforehand. So just in case you haven't noticed, I'll run down the people who will be confirmed now. R-Truth, obviously, in the number 30 spot from winning the Mixed Match Challenge. Drew McIntyre announced himself last week. All of the New Day were on SmackDown. And then more recently, we got Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Jeff Hardy, Dean Ambrose, Bobby Lashley, Samoa Joe, John Cena, Elias, Baron Corbin, Jinder Mahal, Apollo Crews, Andrade Almas, Mustafa Ali, Rey Mysterio, and Randy Orton. We got there, and I managed to say them all out. We're filling in. Who's your early favourite to take out this match?
I have a feeling it's going to be Seth Rollins, but it's not exactly who I'd want to win.
Okay. It's not
Did
following
that. Who I'd actually like to see win, and it would be a completely out of the blue type of win that we haven't really seen.
Is it Kofi Kingston? Yeah, win. I know you well enough.
Yes. Give him the 3 months to build him up as a title contender for the new Daniel Bryan, and he's everything that Daniel Bryan hates.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be perfect since we're not likely to get Miz.
What are you talking about? We've given up now? We've finally given up on the whole Miz Daniel Bryan.
He seems to have a different storyline that came out of nowhere.
I don't. No, I refuse. We're gonna just jump to SmackDown because we got to explain that. The Miz and Shane McMahon are challenging the Bar for their SmackDown Tag Team Championships. They can have 2 matches. The Miz can lose this and then win the Rumble. It's doable.
Yeah, but the thing is that I have a feeling that this is going to parlay into one of 2 different storylines. Either they actually win the titles, or it eventually spins off to Shane versus Miz.
Okay. So does that mean we get Miz Daniel Bryan at the next year's WrestleMania?
I don't know.
Oh, shouldn't have given me the bad news. No. And then over in the women's Royal Rumble match, we got Carmella in the number 30 spot, Ember Moon, Natalya, Bayley, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Sasha Banks, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Alicia Fox, Zelina Vega, and Naomi. At the moment, it looks like Sasha Banks is still listed, despite taking on Ronda Rousey at the event. We'll have to wait and see what the match outcome of that is. We discussed last week, obviously the person who doesn't win the title match still jumping into the Rumble if it happens afterwards. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm going to say this. It'll be very hard for Sasha Banks to win the women's Rumble with one arm.
Yeah. And the match that Paige tried to create before she got removed from her position eventually came to be anyway. Asuka and Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Much like our Daniel Bryan Miz thing, looking a little less clear. The Rousey triple threat looking a little less clear.
No, it's not.
Damn. You're still having the exact same match outcome. We're just having Becky Lynch lose earlier in the night.
Yeah, there'll be something screwy that'll happen that cost Becky that match, and then her and Charlotte will both win the Royal Rumble match.
Okay. I'm going to stick to that then. If you've got faith, I've got faith.
Fun fact, the second Royal Rumble match that the title shot was on the line for ended with co-winners.
There you go.
So my prediction is that the second women's will also follow suit.
Okay. We're all about drawing lines between really thinly veiled connections here. That's normally what happens when I do my segues. And talking about segues, there you go, I segued with a segue. John Cena showed up exactly as he said he would on Raw, and participated in a match where he was not the main focus. And teamed up with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor to take on Dean Ambrose, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, Finn Balor was actually the main focus. Although we kicked Raw off with a brawl, which was a neat difference. We haven't seen that in a while.
No, usually we'll end with a brawl or have a brawl midway through.
Yeah, or have a start with a promo that turns into a brawl.
Yeah.
That was just a straight up brawl that opened. Yeah, it definitely looks like Finn has some momentum. It's very he's kind of my dark horse to win the Rumble.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the implication is that if a Raw superstar was to win the Rumble, that they would be going up against Brock Lesnar.
No, they can pick any champion they want.
Yeah, so you're going to have him flip?
So, yeah.
Okay.
I would have, if Finn wins, he would definitely face Daniel Bryan. Or whoever the WWE champion happens to be at WrestleMania.
Okay.
The only thing I hope for is that they do not announce the title matches like they did last year.
Yeah.
Especially for the men. The women, they did wait a little bit, but it was only like a couple weeks.
I feel like in this one, if the women's goes the way that we're expecting, it's fairly obvious which way they'll go, but there's still room for a little bit of suspense. And then we got a certain segment from a certain man paying tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund, WWE seeing fit to reintroduce Hogan in to the WWE Raw crowd at this moment and time.
You know, as much as I respect Gene, I did not watch the segment. I turned the channel simply out of protest.
Fair enough. WWE has got an interesting way of reintroducing Hulk Hogan. They seem to be going across this like, oh, yeah, he's cool now, but we'll bring him out when there's controversy at Crown Jewel. We'll put him on there. And you can't hate us when you put him into a Mean Gene tribute. You gotta like him now. And I don't know if it's paying off for them. But I guess we'll wait and see. These are the only 2 times I remember Hogan popping up between now and then, so I don't know. Maybe next time there's a massive amount of controversy, he can pop up again to try and distract everyone. What do we got? Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. They got face-to-face, but he's still a little bit hurt, so we're not really ready just yet.
Yeah, he's not been cleared, and I kind of wish that he wore sleeves or something, because dang, he's still got some nasty bruising on it. You think? Surely he's going to be cleared by the time the Rumble rolls around. I hope.
It would seem very foolish if we make it all the way to the Royal Rumble, and Braun Strowman still isn't cleared. After we'd sort of delayed it, and then we did that sort of workaround to give him his title match, but not have to do a full-on match to get there, and then to get there and be like, yeah, so he took a little while longer than we thought to heal. Match change. Yeah, it'd be a little, I guess, disappointing, would be the word I could choose.
I've heard it's not as severe as originally thought, so it probably will be, it just isn't yet.
Okay. Because the Rumble itself, 27th, so what do we got? We got 2 more weeks of Raw and 2 more weeks of SmackDown before we get there. So he's got a little bit of time to heal up, but I still feel like this is cutting it quite close. Obviously not knowing the full details, but fingers crossed. Dean Ambrose, he was defending his Intercontinental Championship. Seth Rollins was there. Falls count anywhere. Ended up being, I guess, the wrong decision when you allow interferences. And a certain Almighty showed up and decided that that was not how Raw was going to end.
Yeah, I made a joke during the match that Ambrose was still selling the curb stop from the night before. Because there was a story that came out that he sold it for like 15 minutes after the match, after the show ended.
Yeah, it'll be, I think, it looked as though Seth Rollins Dean was going to go for a little while. But if you've got Bobby coming in here and messing up Seth and his chance, that would lead me to believe that Bobby Seth is then going to be the way forward and that Dean is going to be freed up with his Intercontinental Championship to, I guess, lean another way in terms of his...
And what I'm hoping is at WrestleMania, Dean Ambrose defends against Elias.
Mm-hmm.
And Elias wins.
So we lost our Miz Daniel Bryan dream, so now we're just betting it all on Elias?
Let it ride.
There's a couple other things. Baron Corbin managed to pick up a win over Elias. The man we just mentioned is winning the Intercontinental title, but hey, we'll ignore this for now. Tag champs Rude and Gable managed to defeat the Revival in a lumberjack match.
Yeah, they're not done.
No.
This isn't over because... And you know what the weird thing is? That despite being heels, they keep getting screwed over in face-like ways.
Are they heels? Are they?
They're definitely not faces. But yeah, it's just a very weird dynamic, and I also they had hashtag FTR on their trunks, which was very weird, especially if you actually know what the hashtag stands for.
Yes. I guess this is going to be a little bit of a segue into the theme that we're going to play. If you're unawares of the hashtag, I believe it stands for F the Revival. You can expand that in your own mind. We're on the radio. We will not be. And I believe it was made up by The Elite in their time at New Japan and Ring of Honor and previously. But now The Elite have moved on, and they've decided to convince a billionaire, I believe, quite a wealthy man, to invest in them and their wrestling product. And we will be getting All Elite Wrestling with all of your favorite members of The Elite: Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, I think Paige is there. And then you got a few more people. SCU from Ring of Honor have jumped over. Chris Jericho's showed up. Joey Janela. And so they're slowly building up their roster for the next show. But we've selected Cody Rhodes' post-WWE theme to be played this week. And we're keeping an eye over on AEW. But there's always a lot of chat about certain people, especially now, when they got the monies and the health insurances and stuff, of jumping ship over. And I guess the rumor mill has been heavy on the Revival, in terms of the Revival jumping ship. Maybe they just wanted to feed that. But we're going to play Cody Rhodes' theme right now. And you're back with Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0, ArrowFM, Grady and Josh. We're now looking at the SmackDown side of things. R-Truth cranking open the show the way that we suggested he did, ambushing the new Daniel Bryan and setting up the match everybody wants to see. Daniel Bryan versus R-Truth, with R-Trizzle, weirdly enough, not coming out on top.
Yeah, but, it's hilarious to have a brawl with Daniel Bryan in the confections area.
Mm-hmm. I always love it when we use other parts of the arena. Always interesting to me. Quite happy. But it also, I guess, legitimized R-Truth, who's been doing a comedy act for quite a while. Like, he's never going to obviously break entirely out of that. But he's getting somewhere. You know, this was very much a serious act of, like, hey, I'm getting revenge on you. Let's fight. And then they ended up having their match, and it was a really good match between the two of them. So, we talked last week, I'm pretty sure, about giving R-Truth a bit of a run. So, I'm not disappointed in what I'm seeing. I'm quite happy with what we're seeing.
Yeah, R-Truth has had an amazing career. He's almost 50 now. It's definitely a swan song moment for him. It also makes it likely that he may not make it to the ring for his spot.
No, don't say that. Two men who will be making it to the ring, Cien Almas and Rey Mysterio, were in a tag team match. Almas teaming with Joe, taking on Mustafa Ali and Rey Mysterio. We're getting deeper into this Rey Mysterio versus Cien Almas feud a little bit. Obviously, Joe Rey still going as well. I think this is just continuing to highlight 4 of SmackDown's top talents going forward at the moment.
While also elevating Mustafa Ali.
Mm-hmm. He's been elevated pretty darn quickly and pretty darn high since showing up on SmackDown as a permanent fixture.
Yeah, he had a pretty good match with Joe. Came just a hair short, but he had a good match with Joe.
And I believe if I recall correctly here, the actual ending of the match was Cien Almas pinning Rey Mysterio in a bit of a moment. So it's possible we defect off in that direction from this match. Obviously, Jeff Hardy's still lingering as well, so I don't quite know when the dust settles what's happening with the upper echelon of SmackDown at the moment. With the Rumble being 2 weeks away, we might not start any heavy feuds, and we might start them at the Rumble, just because the Rumble's a really easy place to start feuds. It's as simple as you turfed me out, therefore I hate you, let's fight. And usually you see a whole lot of new feuds spinning up and being generated from the Rumble. So I would expect that to be the case here. They may just continue to put these 5 or 6 guys who are at the top of SmackDown not in the title feud. Let them just sort of float around and have different things until we get there. But Shinsuke is still going after Rusev. That's clearly obvious.
You mean cheesecake?
Is this official yet for Rumble? Is it not? It's not official yet. It might as well be.
Definitely going to be an interesting match at the Rumble. But yeah, I don't think it's been announced yet because technically champions aren't supposed to get instant rematches without earning them. So, and Shinsuke hasn't yet, to my knowledge, unless it happened on SmackDown.
No, I don't see the match on the official match page, so I'm going to say it's not announced, but it's still pretty clear that that's the direction we're going. Whether Shinsuke has to earn his title shot or something like that soon, I would be very much shocked if this match doesn't take place at the Rumble. But yeah, that's all I got from that. I have a feeling these two will collide very quickly.
Speaking of Rusev, they're being very cryptic about it, but apparently a new member of the Rusev family is coming soon. What that means, we don't really know. It could simply be in there adding an animal.
Yeah, I'm sure they just got a dog.
But there's always the possibility of a baby Rusev.
Yeah. I'm, at the moment, despite them being cryptic, I'm on Team Dog. it's Team Dog, Team Cat, and Team Baby. I'm on Team Dog. We'll see in the future. Obviously, if that is the truth, then Lana will be featured, obviously, a little bit less than she is currently. So we'll just have to wait and see. And if it is, I'm sure they'll have a wonderful time raising a child. Yet another one that's in the wrestling world. Can join the likes of everybody else's babies that in like 18 years is going to be in the wrestling world.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, that must be why they wrote her off a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Because I remember when Brie and Maurice got pregnant, they were actually allowed to announce that they were. So I think if Lana was pregnant, they would have announced it. Yeah. It probably is just an animal.
It's all the hype for nothing.
But we'll see.
We talked about how Becky Lynch will be taking on Asuka at the Rumble. To get there, obviously, because champions don't have instant rematches, she actually had to take on Charlotte Flair on SmackDown to earn that right. And it was quite a good match. Oh, sorry, and Carmella.
Yeah, and Carmella held her own.
Yeah. Fully forgot. But yeah, it was a good triple threat. I would go as far as saying quite damn good is my description.
But that's to be expected. Yeah, we get the Becky Lynch rematch. We get that out of the way. Asuka can move on, face somebody at WrestleMania that's not been in the title picture. And then we can get Becky and Charlotte off on their way to see Ronda.
It's all about that Ronda Lynch Flair match, isn't it? It's just all about how we can get from A to B.
And sometimes C.
And maybe we won't even go to B. Maybe we'll change our mind about B a week out and change it. And then if we're going to jump over to 205 Live, the final member of their Rumble Fatal 4-Way match has been decided. It will be Buddy Murphy defending his title against Akira Tozawa, Kalisto, and Hideo Itami.
Shocker that it wasn't Cedric Alexander. This should be an interesting match. I do know that apparently Blake is begging somebody to come challenge him for the titles next week on the 205 Live.
Okay.
Who answers that?
I've seen rumblings on Instagram, and by that I mean a single comment, of Aiden English potentially cutting down and going over to 205 Live as well.
Yeah, it's always possible. I would have to watch 205 Live next week if it was Ricochet that answered. just because that would be one hell of a match.
Oh yeah, it's because of the match. It's totally not because of where Ricochet's from. Definitely the match. I get you. Yeah, because NXT Phoenix, I believe it's called, is also coming up just before the Rumble as well. So we're building towards those matches. We're building towards the Rumble matches. I actually believe NXT UK, their takeover is potentially this weekend.
Yeah, it's Saturday.
So we've got to get around to watch that. We've got like 30 seconds left. You're just going to tell me who you think's going to win all these matches with no deliberation. And there is correct answers. Dave Mastiff versus Eddie Dennis in a no DQ match. And if you don't know, just guess.
Guy number 2.
Guy number 2. That was a bad decision. UK Tag Team Championship. Mustache Mountain taking on the Grizzled Young Vets.
Mustache Mountain.
Good decision. NXT UK Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley defending against Toni Storm.
New Zealand.
That is cheating, but I'll take it. And finally, the last match, Jordan Devlin taking on the Kiwi Buzzsaw Travis Banks.
It would be stupid if I didn't pick Travis.
That was good.
I might not be back next week if I did.
Yeah, I wasn't going to wish you well if you'd picked Jordan Devlin. But it has been great talking to you.
Bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRadio, Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio. and we'll see you all next week.